92.9, 96.9 EHM, and it's Joe, and we're here at Foxwoods Resort and Casino. We're so excited tonight for the show. Can't wait, and we're talking with Hozier. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for coming in. Yeah.
This property is immense.
It's huge. I'm always a little bit turned around every time I'm in, and oftentimes we walk to the venue in a casino through the back route, and it's like it's labyrinth. You know what I mean? It's yeah.
That's what I felt like walking through the employee locker room. It was like a movie set.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So let's talk about, first off, you have the new album, Wasteland Baby, but I want to go back to your debut, your self-titled debut.
Sure thing.
And Take Me to Church. And that song is so powerful. It's almost Renaissance in a way. Where were you when you wrote that song?
I wrote it over a long period of time. I wrote the lyrics over a long period of time, but I was in Ireland. But I was in when it finally kind of came together. I was doing a lot of work then at the time in the attic of I suppose my family home. So I was kind of back a broke musician, and I like living at home at the time, and I used to work in the this kind of attic space where we had like some kind of studio equipment and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of where it kind of came together. That's where I demoed it. It's where the vocals for that song were recorded and remained. Actually, we kept those vocals and kept all the BVs and stuff, the backing vocals. Yeah.
When did you realize you had such a powerful voice?
I don't know. I think like I was always a singer before I was anything else. So before I could play guitar, I was a singer. I was always dragged into projects of some kind, or dragged up for school events or church events to sing, because I was always the kid that could sing. And then it wasn't until, and then I'd stopped singing for a long time. I didn't like singing in front of crowds, because I was always goaded into singing, you know. And then, I don't know, I think sometime in my teen years, then I was discovering stuff that I wanted to sing and stuff that moved me. So it was only ever just a case of, like, I don't know, of just singing what felt right, you know, I suppose.
When that came on the radio, it's a moment where you have to go, what is this? Who is this? Because you don't sound like anyone else.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
But, you know, you had the success of the crossover of this song, which was amazing.
Yeah, that was interesting. And it was unexpected on my part, I have to say. Because here was this song, which was this kind of elaborate metaphor, and it's very wordy, and it changes time. And yeah, so to see that cross over into a kind of a, you know, it became a pop hit. That was remarkable. I think that was very encouraging, I have to say.
And it was up for a Grammy, which you sang at the Grammys with Annie Lennox.
Annie Lennox, yeah. She's wonderful. I bumped into her a few weeks ago. We were in Glasgow, and she was in town for the first time in a long time. She was in town doing a charity show, I believe. She's such a wonder. She's a legend, obviously, but then was so kind and so supportive and so kind of encouraging to me as well. So.
I enjoyed the podcast that you have. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Nina Cried, or the Cried Power podcast, and Annie Lennox was your first guest. And I want to say you talked a lot about, and I don't want to spoiler alert anyone because they really should go listen to the podcast, but you talk about feminists. And she was one of those role models for me. When you look at, you know, Sweet Dreams and and that was big on the MTV, and she was a powerful woman. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And somebody who, I suppose, I mean, I don't know if we chatted, I don't know if it's remained in the chat, but somebody who subverted like the kind of the appearance of what you know, feminine was as well too, and kind of explored that, and kind of, you know, approached her stagecraft, and her kind of persona on stage was so androgynous and so powerful, and so, you know, and presented, I suppose, womanhood in such a fresh, different way.
Oh, it's completely different coming out of the 70s and into the 80s. It was just, she was so powerful. You released a 12-inch vinyl picture disc for Record Store Day around that time.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything for the upcoming Record Store Day this November?
Maybe. Yeah, I have to wait and see if we can reach deadlines. I'd love to be able to do that. Wait, oh, is that this November?
This November.
Oh, this November. Probably not, sadly.
But next November.
Possibly next November, yes.
Possibly,
yeah. I think more likely next November. If it's in a few weeks' time, I've missed those deadlines, yeah. But
because those are always pretty exciting for vinyl collectors.
I love that, yeah. We've done it the last few years, and it's such a wonderful idea. So if not this year, definitely for next year, yeah.
All right, we'll have to keep your eye out for that one. All right, Nina Cried Power, the EP that came out with Mavis Staples. I love the fact that she calls you Hozier.
Mm-hmm.
Mavis,
very sweet, yeah.
Mavis is a big fan of Mavis. The station, we're a big fan of Mavis as well.
She's the best. She really is the greatest person. I think one of the greatest people I've ever met. I've ever been fortunate enough to meet.
When I grow up, I want to just be Mavis. She's walking sunshine.
She really is. Yeah. She's more energy than I have.
How did it come about? Did you contact Mavis? Was it through the record companies, the labels, or?
Okay, so when I was on the road the first time round, I think word got back, or was exchanged that she had been listening to Take Me to Church, and she was kind of like singing it, or like kind of doing like a nod to it in her set. I would have given my right arm to work with Mavis at any point. But we were crossing, our paths just never lined up. On this one, I think it kind of came about once I'd demoed the song and had it sort of arranged in a way that was listenable. Sent it to Mavis to see if she would want to be part of it, and she was one of the names, obviously, referenced in the song, and the song to me really needed it. It kind of, to me, it was like, look, this is. In my mind anyway, it was like this really needs to have Mavis on it, so reached out, sent it to her, and she was in between touring. I think at the time we flew out then to Chicago, so my first time actually seeing her and meeting her and getting to chat properly was in Chicago on the day of recording those vocals, which was wonderful. I had crossed paths, or I had just missed her at like Newport and stuff like that, but never properly got to Newport Folk Festival in Rhode Island. But never actually got a chance to meet her and talk to her properly. So that was the first time. Yeah, it was great. It was such a wonderful
very
day.
Powerful song.
Thank you.
And you had Booker T too.
Booker T Jones, who joined us in London for about 8 or 9 days of recording. He's on a huge amount of those songs on that record, on the album, and that was really special for me. I mean, Booker T Jones, some of the first songs I ever played in a group as a band, or singing with, at the age of like 14, 15, I joined a group of musicians, local musicians who were older cats, like 17, 18, which for me was cool to me at the time, being hanging out with these kids who were drinking and stuff and partying. And the repertoire was all rhythm and blues music, was all soul music, a huge amount of Stax records. So Booker T, like where I used to cover the MGs in my first band ever, and listening to his music, listening to music that he would have arranged, Sam and Dave, would have been playing behind, Otis Redding, arranging for Stax record. He arranged a huge amount of those songs. His music just switched a light on for me that has never gone out, and so being able to talk to him and sit with him, talk to him about music and talk to him about that as well too. That was really, really cool. So he's a huge hero of mine, and he's a total genius and just a wonderful gentleman as well too.
Got to work with some amazing people.
Yeah.
And still are working with amazing people for sure. Now, the Wasteland Baby, your mother did the artwork for the album. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the first album, also the debut album, the composition was something that my mother had painted. Same goes for the second cover. And I think that started on like the first EP that I released, and a few kind of releases afterwards before getting to the debut album. I used to just borrow paintings that she had done. There was a kind of a style to them, an interesting style to them that I really, really liked, this kind of surreal sort of thing. And we've just continued on from there. But
well, I know we don't have a lot of time. We're talking with Hozier. We're back here backstage at Foxwoods Resort and Casino. You got a big show that's coming up tonight. This will be the first time I'm seeing you. I'm very excited about that.
Angie McMahon also is supporting. If you can catch her, she's wonderful.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that too. I just want to quickly, before we go, talk briefly about the podcast that you have, and that's with Global Citizen.
Yes, yeah.
And how is that different from being on stage? You've had Annie Lennox, you've talked to Bono. Yeah. Which, is it different for you to flip on the switch? Because I feel kind of a little intimidated talking to you right now because you have your own podcast.
No, oh my God, no, don't at all. I'm terrible. I feel like I'm not a great natural host or interviewer in any way, shape or form. So I was quite reluctant, quite hesitant at first approaching that, and it was something that Global Citizen had reached out, and I thought it would be interesting. I don't know, just talking to Annie, talking to Bono. He's great at expressing, or he's the incredible stuff that the one campaign, let's say the Red campaign, have achieved. To actually talk to him as to what is it that drives you to do that, or so and in today's sort of social climate, sort of kindness and a kind of a compassion are increasingly radical. So why not just not do nothing? So why do the good thing that you're doing? Why make the effort that you're making? And I chatted to Marcus Mumford about that, and just hearing how he does a huge amount of work with War Child, which is this fantastic organisation that rehabilitates children who have suffered in conflict or who have been recruited as child soldiers as well, to really, really harrowing stuff, but really incredibly important and life-changing stuff. It's just kind of, and I know Marcus as well too would be quite reluctant to make a show of the fact that he does work like that. So it's just, but it's a wonderful thing that he does it, and also it's fascinating to know why he does it as well too, and what was it that brought him to the understanding that he has of that issue. So it's just a series of conversations. I'm not sure. We have a few more lined up. Some are with Irish activists. Nick Grono was one recently. Works with the Freedom Fund, ending kind of modern slavery, tackling modern slavery. So a couple more to come, but. I've really enjoyed it. It's been interesting.
I have one question to ask too regarding festivals. When you go, did you do Electric Picnic this year?
I did do Electric Picnic, yeah.
What is that like now to go back and perform in Ireland?
That was the first festival I'd headlined, or first time ever headlining Electric Picnic. That was wild, yeah, it was wild. It's a mix between terror and elation, because it's your home crowd and it's a home gig, and you want to do well, and you want to represent as best as you can. But just the support I have in Ireland is like no other. So that was a really, really special moment, really special memory. Yeah,
I can only imagine to come full circle and be like, starting off, you're in the attic and you're playing around and you're writing some songs, and here you are back, and people probably went nuts.
Totally. And also,
you're a big star.
I don't know. It's a funny thing. It's because I was away from Ireland for so long. So I was unknown when Take Me to Church started being played on Irish radio. People didn't know I was an Irish act. They assumed that I was a foreign act, like coming from the States or something. Because I had done acoustic kind of open mic nights and stuff, but I didn't have a band. So the sound that I came out with that demo, with that song, with that EP, was something that just kind of was brand new to me also. And then it was like I was gone and I was in America promoting that record for the next 2 years, touring it around the world. And then I kind of came home, and then so I rarely get to play at home and bring the music to stages at home, and yet so much of the work and so many facets of the work and the kind of kernel of it is inspired deeply by elements of Irish experience and Irish landscape, and and just, you know, everything I kind of do, I do for home, you know, or everything I kind of, it's a weird thing, but I'm constantly reflecting on Ireland and what it means to me. So it's that funny thing. It's then, you know, it's so nice to get home and actually bring the music back to a stage there, you know.
Yeah. Will you be going back home when you wrap up this tour?
Yeah, 2 final shows in Dublin in December, 10th and 11th, I believe, in the 3 Arena, which can't wait. Yeah,
you're on the final stretch here.
Yeah, it's weird.
You are. Who's on your playlist?
Who's on my playlist at the moment? Actually most recently, the last album I listened to was Angie's, Angie McMahon, who's supporting me at the moment. Absolute stunning songwriter. Beautiful songs. So I listened to that, and then it was one of those albums I just went right back to the next day and went back to. So, and then apart from that, I would encourage anyone to do that. Our last support was Madison Ryan Ward, incredible vocalist, incredible singer. Would encourage anyone to check her music out. And then, oh my goodness, and then I'm still always stuck in kind of like the 20th century. So listening to, I'm always never not listening to either Sly and James Brown.
I was just going to say, going back to the Stax and soul. And yeah. Well, that goes right to the soul.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
all pun intended there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Have a wonderful show tonight. We're here at Foxwoods Resort and Casino at the Grand Theater, and Hozier will be taking stage tonight. And we look forward to seeing a release for Record Store Day, hopefully next year. And is there any new album coming out after this?
Yeah, I can't speak for the album, but I mean, as soon as I can, I can't wait to make music. But I will have a few songs, so I'll be playing some new material here tonight that that has not been released, and so within the next few months, I'm hoping to have another 4 or 5 songs to release, hopefully in an EP form. But so it's kind of watch this space.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll keep posting. Hozier, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.